In this episode of Need to Know Marketing, we're going to talk about the future of the NFL athletes that kneeled during the national anthem. Hello, marketing fanatics. Welcome to Need to Know Marketing. Joining me is Gil Eyal. And by the way, I'm Mark Fidelman, CEO of Fanatics Media. Gil, pretty controversial subject. I mean, I spent all weekend creating posts, responding to posts. It was, wow. I mean, some of the most engagement I've ever had on Facebook posts ever. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
You know, I think as somebody who came to this country, we're fortunate to live in a place where you're allowed to express yourself, and even if it's in a way that some people might find offensive. And I think that's something that we have to be supportive of. From a purely business perspective, I think it's a challenging situation because you alienate a lot of potential audiences with decisions that you make either way, kneeling or not kneeling.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your point, Gil. I think my contention is that, when they make it political, I wonder what kind of impact that's going to have on their future earnings. I mean, the ones that stood, I don't think there'll be any impact either way, but the ones that kneeled, look what happened to Colin Kaepernick, right? I mean, his impact or his ability to earn a living now has been severely impacted. And then I don't know how too many brands or sponsors are going to get behind him.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it comes on top of the fact that athletes tend to be the least impactful types of influencers that we see on social media because there's so many of them, because the content that they create isn't that unique. And of those, football players are in the bottom grouping anyways because there's such a variety, and except for the really big names, most of them aren't really that well known aside from big football fans or people who are fans of their teams. So as it is, they're not starting on a very strong position. Advertisers aren't chasing them the same way that they might be chasing other types of influencers. And I think putting yourself inside of a controversy is really risky. If you become the face of the controversy, then the people who disagree with you are going to see you as the enemy or as somebody that they really can't align with. And even if you had a really, really good appeal with a specific audience, brands should be rightfully hesitant to work with you because people might be harvesting negative opinions about what you did.
I was not buying that stuff, that show with the owners kneeling with the players or the arms locked up. I wasn't buying it because they're forgetting why this whole thing has happened. If they want to stop, if they want to unite with the players, Colin Kaepernick should have a job in NFL. So it's hypocritical for them to say we're all united, but we're forgetting the reason why this whole thing started.
Yeah, I thought it was a huge risk for anyone that's kneeling. I mean, I can sympathize and I understand why they did it, but purely in a business context, which of course the show's about, I don't think it was a good decision. I mean, look at what was the Steelers lineman that came out, Villanova. He had the opportunity to have some big endorsement deals, but then he later retracted his position, which I thought was a huge mistake. I understand he probably did it for his teammates because they were probably upset with him that he upstaged them. But from a business context, I thought there was a huge mistake because he became less of a figure that people could all get behind and pat on the back. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges we see with ex-football players, a lot of them go broke. I think I read somewhere, a huge percentage, maybe 50% go broke eventually, even though they made millions throughout their career. Yeah. Their careers are shorter than they anticipate typically. Average career is shorter than 2 years, I think, or 2 seasons.
In the NFL.
And so these guys really have very short time in the spotlight. And while I understand the need to express a political opinion, and I can't criticize it, if you really believe in something, you should be able to speak about it. But this opportunity is really, really limited. And the way you spend your money, the way you make business decisions, and the way you involve your personal life with those decisions could impact how you end up in this league and in the advertising world.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense why they would have gone that direction. I thought it was all about emotion, with Trump getting on and talking about firing all these guys, and then all the NFL athletes and some of the NBA athletes have kind of reacted to that.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
What they don't realize is Trump still has a lot of support, and that base is more likely, I think, to watch sports than the base that's actually coming to their defense, which are people that don't watch football or the NBA. So I think it was a poor decision on their part in a business context. I'm not talking about political or social. In a business context, to take a kneel.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we all have our own political opinions, and we all trend different ways. We do live in a place where somebody got elected, and at least for the period of that election, you have to accept them as a president. I think the decision not to attend the White House by I think some of the NBA players, too, was one that you can decide. If you're really, really big, if you're somebody who's making $30 million a year, you can take that risk, and you can say, okay, if I lose an endorsement, it's no big deal. But a lot of these football players, they're on temporary contracts. They may end at any time. One injury could end their career at any second. So I don't know if they're thinking through the consequences.
I can tell you they're not. I mean, the smart ones probably are. They're avoiding it. They're not wanting to get involved because, politics, frankly, probably shouldn't be on the field. I understand why they're doing it. I just think it should be off the field, and it's going to impact them for a long way to come. And there's no telling, like you said, if they're going to survive another year or 10 years in the NFL, especially the NFL. And so why limit your future earnings because of a stance that you take on the field? I thought it was a mistake. I respect people that don't think it was a mistake. And we'll see. We're going to follow the story, and we're going to find out what happens.
Well, Charles Barkley said it many years ago. I didn't choose to be a role model, and I don't accept that position. But the truth is, you have no choice, especially today with social media. You're a role model. People are looking at you. There are people following you on social media. And there are kids who are asking their parents, why didn't they, I'm supposed to say the Pledge of Allegiance at school. Why aren't they kneeling when the national anthem's, why are they kneeling when the national anthem's playing? And with that said, if you really wanted to beat up on Donald Trump, you had your opportunity back when he was fighting in the WWE. And I think it's a little too late now.
All right, on that note, we know this is a controversial subject. Let us know if you agree, disagree. Tell us your thoughts about this because it's going to have significant impact for a while. Ratings on the NFL, I think, were down 10, 15% over the weekend. So let's see what happens going forward. Should be interesting. Gil, again, thanks for joining us. Where do people reach you?
I'm Gil at hyperbrands.com, HYPRBRANDS.
Okay, and if you want to check out the profiles of some of these athletes to see, if there's somebody that you want to hire or not hire, go to hyperbrands.com, check them out. I think they've got, a free trial?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks again, Gil, and look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks for having me.